when I read your resume, I see that you've written also non-fiction works. Is there any particular one that you're working on right now?
No, right now I just have been for the last number of years working on script screenwriting
Okay.
and then finding producers and letting people know about it, and with the kind folks like you, it's more and more people are able to see it and experience it and see it, what it means to them. So yeah.
And my last question, Gabriel, is let's say, for example, because I'm a writer myself, how do you find it when you spend so many weeks or months, sometimes years, working on the project, and you find out that it's not immediately embraced out there? And you know what I mean when it comes to an author expectation. So how do you deal with sometimes rejection as a writer?
I have learned over the years to let rejections or non-acceptance become just like rain. It falls on you and it just goes off. And if somebody has a suggestion in response to a story or a script, if it's constructive, then I appreciate that. Actually, I'll say, oh, I hadn't thought of that. I think I'll work on that. I think that could make it better. But for the most part, if it's a book or you're trying to find a publisher or a script, I think that, like in a way, what you were saying earlier, you really need to do it for yourself because it's something important that you need to say and externalize yourself. And whether 10 people ever read it or see it, or 100,000 people do, that you need to be okay with either way.
Exactly.
That you aren't doing it for a certain amount of recognition or acclamation, but you're doing it because the story to you means something and it's important for you to tell. And I think that it's in some ways it's really wonderful the way things have changed, because now you can self-publish and a lot more people are self-publishing books, so that, and you can do it for very inexpensive now. It used to cost thousands of dollars, but now you can do it for $300 or $400. But it may not be seen by many people. It may not be reviewed as much. But some people will read it and you can have it published. But that's much more accessible than it used to be.
But I always try to encourage writers to, before they can resort to self-publishing, to try other avenues, because you have a steep mountain to climb when you self-publish your work. And
I agree. I think I'm trying to find a small or medium or large publisher or an agent who will present it to one of them is great. And self-publishing has become less and less stigmatic. Also over the last number of years. It's because it's been around for a long time, but I think it's becoming more and more accepted. There's not as much, except for reviewing places, still predominant. Well, there's more and more. Yeah, there's still more and more places that review self-published, but all the large reviewers and the majority of the traditional reviewers only publish traditionally published books. That's true. You're right. So, yeah, I would definitely try that first, but you just have to be persistent.
It seems to me that for major publishers, maybe that's their last line of defense. And that heavily contested warfare, so to speak. You know, if you self-publish your work, some academic or literary venues may look down on it, no matter how important it might be.
Yeah. And I think you sending it to small publishers or mid-sized publishers is good. To almost all the 7 or 8 large publishers that have all these subsidiaries.
Exactly.
All these publishing companies that are underneath these.
I'm seeing that,
I think there's seven
so
or eight.
true.
Almost all of those, you have to have an agent to get
Mm.
them to look at anything.
Uh-huh.
So if you want to try to approach them, some you can individually, but the odds are not in your favor. So for a large publisher, it's good if you can find an agent first, which is just as hard as finding a publisher.
Yeah.
So